Hey everybody, it is late at night and I am Norman. You may have heard of the red paperclip experiment. If you haven't, I'm going to go briefly over what happened there and explain why I'm opening with this story. So let us begin. So a blogger in Canada, taking inspiration from the game called Bigger Better, decided to trade a single red paperclip for something else. And then he traded that item for yet another item. And it kind of continued on like that for a year. And it's pretty crazy what he ended up with. So I'm going to briefly go down the list of each trade that he did. I'm going to omit the dates and everything, just the items themselves. So he started out with a red paperclip, of course, and he traded that for a fish-shaped pen. He traded that for a hand-sculpted doorknob. Then he traded the doorknob for a Coleman camp stove. He traded the camp stove for a Honda generator. Then he traded that for an Instaparty empty keg. He traded the keg for a Ski-Doo snowmobile. That's pretty crazy. Then he traded the snowmobile for a two-person trip to Yak, British Columbia. He traded the second spot on the trip for a box truck. He traded the box truck for a recording contract with Metalworks in Mississauga, Ontario. He traded the recording contract for a year's rent in Phoenix, Arizona. He traded the year's rent for an afternoon with Alice Cooper. He traded that for a Kiss motorized snow globe. He traded the snow globe for a role in the film Donna on Demand. And for his final trade, he traded that role for a 2-story farmhouse. So he went from a paperclip to a farmhouse. And I was thinking it would be kind of fun to do something similar with wristwatches. Now I have no expectation that it's going to be quite the vertical increase like his was. It'll be much more horizontal, I think. I have no delusions that I would end up with a Cartier Tank no date medium by the end of this. But it should be lots of fun. And the cool thing is, those of you who are directly involved in this, you get to experience watches that you may not have encountered before. And if you're not directly involved in this, you'll get to see my reviews of any watch that passes through my hands, which will be really fun. Now the problem is, with this experiment, we're going to have to ship them back and forth. So we're going to be on the honor system. I contacted UPS to see if there was a way to ship the watches to the other person's local UPS store and have both items held until both people have signed off on them, and then they can take them, but they have no way of doing that. It took me quite a while just to explain what was going on to them. So it'll be on the honor system. It's entirely possible that I send you a watch that I'm going to trade you and you could just run off with that. However, if that happens, I'll have to explain to everyone that the experiment failed because so-and-so kept my watch and didn't send theirs in. And if no one decides to participate, well, it was an interesting idea. So I'm thinking about kicking this off with the Timex Marlin Black Dial. So if you would like to trade me a watch for this one, shoot me an email. If for whatever reason you have difficulty tracking down my email, I've included it in the description below. This watch is running well. I have its box and papers, and you can see how it performs on the time grapher. I just put it on there for a bit to see how it was doing, and not too bad. 20-some seconds fast. It's a Timex. It's fine. Now you may want to watch the full review of this watch, because there is one thing to know about it. When you pop the crown in, the minutes hand does jump a minute or two. To avoid that, just turn the crown slightly backward and then push it in, and it won't move at all. But this is a great watch. It is a small watch. Know that ahead of time. But hey, if you're curious about vintage watches and don't want to drop any money on one, this watch is just like owning a vintage watch. So maybe you'll want to trade something you no longer want and get to experience something that's pretty much contemporary vintage. So yeah, if anyone decides to trade for this watch, once I receive the other one, I'll share it with you guys, and we'll just keep going. If things get crazy, I may have to stop it. Who knows what's gonna happen. And at some point, we'll just call it complete. And if somehow this experiment is successful and we all have fun doing this, I may have to do this with other watches that I was planning on offloading. But yeah, if you reach out to me, I'll send you a bunch of photos of this watch so you can see it up close, and we'll discuss shipping and all of the other details. Hopefully this works. Thanks for watching.